And today's Tisha B'Av, and a lot of people struggle with trying to understand what's this day all about. What's Tisha B'Av all about? There's a story the Ramah brings. It's not so clear if it's historically true, even not about the names. Generally, it's told that it's Yirmiyahu Navi, the prophet Jeremiah, happened to meet Aristotle. It might make more sense. It could have been Plato or Socrates. It could have been a different prophet. Could have been a different philosopher. It could have never happened at all. It doesn't really matter. Most would say probably didn't happen. But the story is a good story, and the lesson is a good lesson. Is that this philosopher comes across a Greek philosopher comes across a Jewish prophet, crying and mourning over the destruction of the temple. So of course it would make sense to say that that's Jeremiah. And the Greek philosopher said, "What is this? You're an adult. You're crying over a building. Don't you think of more lofty ideas, concepts? Why are you crying about a building?" And Yirmiyahu Navi said, "You're a great philosopher, maybe the greatest philosopher in the world. Well, let's say it's Aristotle. Tell me, do you have some question in philosophy that you don't have an answer for?" And so Aristotle told him the question that he had, and right away Jeremiah had the answer. And Jeremiah told Aristotle, "That's what I'm crying for. Not for bricks, not for stones, not for wood, not even for the act of bringing the sacrifices in the temple, which we can no longer do. But I'm crying for the ideals that were lost." And I think that's really the ultimate message of Tisha B'Av. When we come down to it, the Sadducees were the ones who destroyed the temple, not the Romans. The Romans destroyed the building, but the Sadducees, the Tzaddukim, the aristocrats who turned the temple into a den of thieves, into a place just for politics, just for making money, or even just for religious purpose, right? They turned into a cult. The Tzaddukim. They forgot about what it's all about. And so they destroyed the soul of the temple. And all that was left for the Romans to destroy was a paper tiger. There was nothing there. And that's what we're mourning over. Is the ideals that the temple embodies. The ideals of the Torah, of Sinai, of God, of our relationship with God. That's what Malachi, when they were building the second temple, was already giving Musar to the priests, the ancestors of the Sadducees. Most of the Sadducees were priests, because they turned it into a religion instead of a relationship. And when we understand that, then we get it back, because the point of all of this is not the cult of the sacrifices of the temple, not politics, not money, not even religion, but making a relationship with God. And the ideals, the lofty ideals that we can apply into our lives, that's what Jeremiah was crying about. Now, I would go further to say that indeed that's a message that we have for life. And in our current world, here in America was founded on ideals. It's not just a piece of land. See, that's the mistake in Israel. They fetishize the land, and they fetishize and cultize the religion. turn into a cult, and they forget about the ideals. Many people, not everybody. Of course, there are great people there who live up to the ideals and understand the ideals. I'm not talking about them. But the average person has a hard time grasping that. The average person is not a Jeremiah, not an Aristotle. That's what we're crying about. That's what Jeremiah cried about. My eyes. They're pouring out water. And the same thing is happening here in America. They see America as just a piece of land, a country like any European country, as opposed to a source of ideals of freedom, of liberty. It's a banner, a shining city on the hill, like Reagan always said. The ideals rooted in Scripture that the founding fathers founded this land on, not as a piece of land like any other piece of land, but as something transcendental and an example for the rest of the world, a light to the nations that Israel was supposed to be, that the Jewish people are supposed to be, and that we can still be if we live up to those prophetic ideals. And I think the only way we can solve this in the end is how Jeremiah ends the book of Lamentations. And I mentioned Malachi, God says, Shuv alai v'shuv aleichem. V'ashuv aleichem. God exhorts Israel, the Israelites, the Jewish people. By the time of Malachi, it was only Judea. And he says, return to me and I will return to you. But we go back to what Jeremiah says, Hashivenu Hashem Elecha v'nashuva Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem. Return us, Hashivenu, return us, O Lord, to you, and then we'll return. Restore our days of old. Meaning, what of old? Like in the Garden of Eden. We can't do that. We can't bring about the Garden of Eden, no matter how much we try. We need God to do that. And when we recognize our reliance on God, which transcends even religion, of course we have to keep mitzvos, but the point of the mitzvos is the ideals behind them. And if we lose out on those ideals, why do we do them? Well, of course we do them so maybe our children will get those ideals, or maybe our grandchildren. Maybe we'll get them at some point. We can't give up. We have to keep trying. And so no mitzvah is ever wasted, and God rewards every mitzvah. But it has to be, and we cannot reach, as Jews, we cannot reach those ideals without the mitzvahs, as some have suggested, as the reformists, and or before them Philo and many have suggested that we could get those ideals without the physical commandments. No, that's also not possible. It goes against human nature. But we have to find that happy medium. And we really can't do it ourselves. And the only way we can do it is with reliance on God. And that's why we end off the Megillas Eicha, the Sefer Kinnos. Shivenu Hashem Elecha v'nashuva Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem. We can't do it ourselves. Hashem, God is the only one who could do it. We have to let God in our lives. We have to make room for God. And that way we'll be worthy to have the restoration that we're so waiting for. Have a meaningful Tisha B'Av, and hopefully this will be truly the last Tisha B'Av. If we embody that meaning, we already exemplify that idea of Kara Elai Moed. We can already do it now, but we need God's help. God bless.